Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Trina, and in today's video I honestly had to film this intro twice because the first intro that I filmed for this whole weekly vlog supposedly was like 3 weeks ago, and I totally forgot what I already said there. But as you are like watching this, or as I'm filming this rather, it has been a week since my LASIK surgery and I haven't really been filming a lot because I needed a rest. But today I am back. I am pretty much no glasses mode while I'm filming this, and I'm very happy about it. Still a little bit blurry on the sides of my eyes, but still it is so much better now. I can see pretty much clearly everywhere, and it's amazing. And I'm just going to like talk you through again what is this vlog is supposed to be. I intended for this to be a Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard reading vlog, but decided to just merge it with my Cozy and Chaos reading vlog and make this like one whole month, like probably April's vlog, because I won't be able to do Cozy and Chaos for the whole of April, and so I'll just compile it in this one whole vlog. So yeah, that is the gist of what is going to be in this video. I don't know if I've like talked about the book before I went to surgery, but our TBR for this video is going to be the 3 books of the Magnus Chase and Gods of Asgard series by Riordan. I am pretty much a fan of the Percy Jackson series. I grew up with the Percy Jackson series, like high school, I guess, or was I still in elementary school? But yeah, basically I would love to read every book that Rick Riordan has written, and I haven't gotten around to finishing the series of Magnus Chase. There are only 3 books, and I have 2, and I'm thinking of purchasing the 3rd one just to complete the series. But I do have a digital copy of the 3rd if I decided to not buy anything just yet because I don't have funds. But yeah, Magnus Chase and Gods of Asgard follows Magnus, of course, but Magnus Chase is the cousin of our beloved Annabeth Chase from Percy Jackson series, and knowing that the Chase family is pretty much loved by the gods, I guess, Magnus, similar to Annabeth, is also a demigod. Wow, big surprise. And this series follows more of like the Norse mythology, which if you're familiar, Thor, Loki, Odin, World Tree, Yggdrasil, Valhalla, all of those stuff, Valkyries and such. And this book follows Magnus in his journey because he was like prophesized, as always with Rick Riordan main characters, prophesized to be the harbinger of the end of the world. And in this case, I am pretty much almost in the middle of this. When I started filming this whole video, I actually just started reading, which was a few days before my operation, and I didn't know that time that I was going into surgery, and yesterday was my 1 week after the surgery, so I picked up the book again and started reading, and almost at the middle. So yeah, I'm just going to let the other clips play and end this intro, because I am going to do probably today a a read with me with this book, filming stuff. But yeah, I will update you more near the end so that we can have like a little bit of continuity with this video. So I hope you enjoy, and I will react once I get more into this book. Okay, it's kind of a bit unbelievable that today, or right now, as I am filming this vlog or doing a reading vlog on Magnus Chase and the God of Asgard, because I did previously mention that the only time I read Magnus Chase in the past and got through with this book is when I pick it up every time there is like a 13-hour power out here in the city. And lo and behold, there is a 12-hour power out today. Second day that I am reading this book for this vlog. So anyway, I am this far into the book. I'm sorry if the book is kind of looking quite dirty. It's from storage, I guess. I have reached this part, which we are at the end of chapter 12. And I really forgot how sassy Magnus is for a 16-year-old. And I do have like tab in places here wherein the dark blue one is the ones where I find it very funny, like Magnus being in a near-death situation, or a death situation rather, but still had the audacity to be sassy, and I really much enjoyed it. There were pinkish red ones are like lore points to who Magnus really is, which to be fair I shouldn't be putting in because the whole book is basically Magnus's backstory and what he is going to do in the future. And then this sort of gold one is I put it when Magnus means business. It's because I find that when he's very angry he becomes quite powerful. And I also wrote stuff in here with pencil. I'm still very much afraid to write down using pen. So I've been using pencil for this, and I also used my long transparent sticky notes here for highlighting specific lines that spoke to me, or like I find funny or something like that. And the pink ones are anything that is like in the perspective or like being said by Magnus, his internal monologue, or like anytime he says something. And then the blue one I decided to be anyone else, like characters that are not Magnus. So those are just the two colored highlights that I've been doing, and I've been enjoying it so far. Just a little bit of reading here and there. It took like an hour or so to read some of this, and like it's very funny. I forgot how I enjoyed like Riordan's humor when it comes to writing like teenagers. And this is the reason why I really love the Percy Jackson series from the beginning. So yeah, I'm going to continue reading and update you once I get more into the story. I just realized this is going to be a very fun like editing process for me because I just filmed the intro just a little bit while ago, and then there are clips in between to this one. So yeah, for continuity's sake, this is me after filming that intro. So yeah, we're caught up now. Today is the 13th of April, which is a Saturday. Yesterday or 2 days ago was my 1 week of me recovering from LASIK surgery. Very happy about it. Still going to have a few checkups here and there. But yeah, while I was recovering, I wasn't really resting, which I am quite guilty about. But yeah, you are looking at something new in my collection of journals for 2024. Previously, I do have a steno notebook wherein I don't know what to do with it, so I decided to make a reading journal out of it. But the more I watch content about like reading journals and booktubers and all that, I have been browsing Instagram and have seen a bunch of like reading journals, flip through spreads, and kind of feel a little bit FOMO because, to be fair, you don't really need to have colorful pages in order to record your journal. You could be as minimalist as you can. You could simply just put it in Goodreads and that's it. No need to like do writings and such, or like simply put it in your daily journal, and that's fine. For me, however, I kind of do want to like keep a record of what I have read within the year sort of situation, and also make it pretty because I haven't really been at all journaling that much, I guess, using all of my scraps and stash that I have been hoarding, and wanted to use only those stuff. So what I did was pick out a journal. This is a hard cover journal that's very shiny, sorry. This is I think I bought it in W.H. Smith while I was at the airport on my very first trip to Cebu after the pandemic. And I just wanted like a souvenir from the trip, and I really love ginkgo leaves. I also love silver and gold. So this is the notebook that I've been hoarding for almost 2 years now, and decided this is the perfect time to use it. So I created a reading journal. So I'll just give a little bit of a flip through here. it's like lined paper. So I made this like very simple. Like my spread here is like my books read in 2024. This, I think the reason why I wanted to shift to like a bound journal instead of a steno notebook is that the steno notebook, I purposely made it so that I could use it for multiple years. But at the back of my mind, I want to see, like, track my progress when it comes to on a monthly and yearly basis. So this is what the purpose of this journal is for. So the books read in 2024, I do have a goal of 20 books in 2024, but I have bumped it up to 40 actually last week, or like this week rather, because I have reached 18 books. I've listened to 8 books this month, or like 6 rather, because 2 of them are physical copies. But ever since I finished my operations, I have been listening to audiobooks nonstop. So 6 of them were audiobooks, I believe. And yeah, I really enjoyed the process, the beauty of audiobooks. And every time I do chores and such, I listen to an audiobook, and it's glorious. Next we have here, since I started this in April, like the journal, I decided to just lump Q1 into one and made a page here out of old book, like a paperback, or like a mass market paperback, whatever, and just wrote like the titles that I've read for that particular month, and then the rating at the side, just so I don't really need to waste any more pages. I have my 5-star reads, my favorite book and my least favorite book for the whole quarter, rather than the month, the whole quarter, and then my favorite, what do you call this? My favorite quote of the whole quarter, which is from Basil, Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde. I do have like, what do you call this? A wrap-up of my Q1 books read already up in my channel. I will leave the link down in the description if you're interested. It was wild. It was fun. Next we have here is book tokens. I actually found the idea from JD Ray Reads. I really love her content, and I actually don't know where this originated, but I found like one of her videos wherein she talked about book tokens. So book tokens are basically your way of like reading from your TBR first before buying anything. And to be perfectly honest, I have a debt. Like I have a debt of 1 token here, because although I have like completed 4 or like earned 4 tokens, I actually bought 5 books out of a whim. So the way I do my book tokens is that I have to read either 2 physical books. This is like my legend here, or like indicators here. The top 2 physical books, 4 digital copies, or 4 audiobooks. And I just color in whenever I finish a certain type of book. And then if I have completed like a 4 or a 2, I just underline it and earn myself a token here, so that I could purchase if ever I want. It's like a self-control thing, but as you can see, I do have a debt of 1, so probably need to finish 1 more audiobook so that I could be clean from my debt from the book tokens. And yeah, I did like write down what I purchased with the token, just so I could track down what it is. And I didn't even leave another space here, thinking that I won't buy any more books, but I'm planning on buying 1 more, like the 3rd book of Magnus Chase, one of these days, probably on my birthday or something, just to annotate. But we'll get there when we get there. And I also checked whether or not I have read that particular book that I bought, because yeah, so far this is like the book tokens page, and then we proceed to all of the entries that I have did for like the previous books that I have read. So basically all of this, I even cut out the covers that I drew from the steno notebook, but I don't think I'm going to continue like drawing in the covers anymore, because it's kind of a bit difficult, especially if you don't have the red colors. And I basically just journaled, use anything that is from my stash that is kind of related to or in the color scheme of the book that I have read. Start and finish dates. I even abandoned the cow pile method at this point, because I don't know, I just lettered in the quote that I really love from the book, and it's as simple as that. And I just wrote in all of my thoughts and feelings, filling in the page. Sometimes I do put like what series it is from, if it's still an ongoing series. And yeah, I actually enjoyed this. I mean the dragon scales thing here, because I did have like my brother sold or like sell card sleeves of like, now in my Facebook page, because we don't have a Shopee shop anymore, we closed it. but we used to sell Dragon Shield sleeves for cards for TCG, and they have this packaging wherein it's dragon scales, and I stashed it. I hoarded it for like 4 months, I guess, thinking like, where am I going to use it? And then I ended up reading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. So yeah, don't really look into like all of my entries because there is spoilers. Like, I don't hold back when I'm journaling because this is basically just for me, but I do like to share it. And here we have, because I forgot, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, I actually listened to an audio for April, but I wrote it or journaled it before I did the April pages, so that's fine. So this is so far the April reads, a little bit of a spoiler, but I'll talk more about it like next time because this is not the vlog for that. And I do have my TBR here just tipped in case I have so much more to write here because it's just 13th. I'm in the middle of Magnus Chase. I'm in the middle of Hawthorne Legacy, A Curious Beginning. I'm also in the middle of what was that again? I forgot. I finished Happiness Falls. Yeah, so far in this TBR, I am in the middle of all of them except the Final Gambit because I am planning. I was supposed to do. Okay, now I'm rambling at this point. I'm supposed to do in Inheritance Games reading vlog, but I decided to cancel on that because. And look at this page. Like, look at this drawing, lackluster drawing of Inheritance Games cover. This is why I decided I won't do covers anymore because I'm just that bad at it. So decided to just do all of this, like forget the covers. And this is so far how the pages are turning out. I just want to share. I finished Happiness Falls yesterday, so I don't have an entry for it just yet. So yeah, so far that is my reading journal update. So, an update on Magnus Chase and the God of Asgard, Book 1, Sword of Summer. I am at that point wherein I am deciding whether or not this is going to be a spoilery reading vlog or not, because to me, I have already read this book, so I know what's going to happen next. I just want to like annotate on it and write down stuff and like gather quotes and such like these, but I don't know if you are like willing to like listen to like the bits and pieces that are in here, but basically we all know, probably if you don't know then I think it is in the back. Sometimes the only way to start a new life is to die. Okay, so we know Magnus Chase died. That is how he went to Valhalla, which is the afterlife of heroes, probably in Norse mythology, which is depicted in here as a hotel. All of the fallen heroes are like being housed in this grand hotel, giving them like a place to train and also to eat good food in preparation for Ragnarok, which is Doomsday. And the appearance of Magnus Chase in Valhalla is somehow the catalyst or like the harbinger of Doomsday. And of course, it's a Riordan book. It's always the main character who is the catalyst of Doomsday and how somehow wishes to change their fate. And yeah, so far that's it. So Magnus here is a son of a god. I don't know if I'm going to mention it, but if you are like very keen on what like which Norse god or goddess it is, the Sword of Summer, summer being your clue word there. Yeah, so he inherited like his birthright was the Sword of Summer, and it is like a sword prophesized to either bring luck or bring chaos, which is supposed to be the one that is the catalyst for Doomsday, because this sword is the only sword that could release a greater evil. It's in the cover. If you know Norse mythology, you would probably heard of Fenris. Is it Fenris? Yeah, it is Fenris Wolf, which is the son of Loki. So this wolf is like, if he is released, he is the one who's going to start Ragnarok and the war and Doomsday, whatever. And Magnus is trying to stop that. And in order to stop that, he also needs the sword. So people in Valhalla, like the Valkyries, the Thanes, do not trust him and think that if he got a hold of the sword, he's the one who's going to free Fenris Wolf. And yeah, so far that is like the adventure, the finding of the sword, like finding his birthright. And I I don't know what else to tell you. It is a middle grade, so mostly the adventures of like anything Rick Riordan related is almost similar in pacing and in storyline. Very sassy kid who is the son of a god or a goddess out there trying to reverse the prophecy that was that has fallen upon them and changing their fate. And yeah, that is the update so far. I'm probably just going to finish reading this, then update you. But yeah, I'm thinking of filming a read with me actually right now. And who knows, within the hour I might end up right around here. So yeah, that is for the update so far. I'm happy to be back into reading and doing this reading vlog with you guys. And so I hope you enjoy as well. Okay, probably the funniest thing ever is letting your brother who doesn't like play Honkai Star Rail or any of the like he does play Genshin but like stopped in like the second year, but letting him or asking him to buy merch for you when he doesn't know the character is actually quite hilarious. He is currently at Anime Fest. I couldn't go because obviously I've just finished my eye operation, so I shouldn't really stress out that much. And to me, probably anime conventions and merch shopping is kind of fun but also stressful in a way. So yeah, I stayed at home, asked him to do the shopping for me, and he did survive. A lot of stuff has already sold out already, so that's kind of sad, but it's fine because today's the last day anyway. So more sold out items means more savings in my case, I guess. But in any case, I am here with an update for my readings of Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, Book 1, The Sword of Summer. I have finished this last night. Wasn't able to update it because it was late. And I also started, I'm already here at Book 2, The Hammer of Thor. And yeah, I have so much fun with this. So basically, I am already caught up to the part where I finished or like read in Book 2, because I have been reading these, like the Magnus Chase series, I've been reading this when I was like waiting for the electricity to come back whenever there's a power out. So I have been reading it slowly, and I finished Book 1 and then I read slowly Book 2, but of course I've forgotten about it. So yeah, finished Book 1 last night. I really enjoyed it. What I really enjoy about Rick Riordan's writing, I remember it now, but he always references back to old books that he had written. So in this series, there is a lot of callbacks to Percy Jackson series as well as Heroes of Olympus, and it really makes me want to reread the whole series from the start, actually. I have forgotten a lot of details, but I also enjoy like the different callbacks. For example, if you don't know Percy Jackson series, Percy is the son of Sidon. It's not really a spoiler, but he really loves everything that is color blue. There is this, like, it's not necessarily a meme, but a reference to him that his mother bakes him like a blue cake or blue cookies. So it's basically chocolate chip cookies, but dyed in the color blue. That was like his thing. And Magnus, for like more than once, did he mention that he dislikes the color blue. And it's kind of like a callback to that. And also, I forgot the name of the sword of Percy, but Percy's sword is disguised as a pen. So a pen sword, basically, wherein if he clicks the pen, it becomes the sword. And in this series, Magnus also has a sword, but he was thinking of a way to like disguise his sword in the human world. And he did mention like who would find a pen sword as something that is cool. So he decided to make his sword into a locket or like a necklace. And it's just funny because Percy had a pen sword and he's like dissing like a pen sword is no longer cool sort of situation. And they also mention here Jason Grace. I think the color that I use for like the Percy Jackson references is this like, yeah, like this one, this orange, like brick orange. So I do have like my tabs here at the front, like this one. So funny moments, backstory or lore points about Magnus. When I put here when Magnus means business, it's like whenever he calls upon his power. and of course the brick orange as Percy Jackson references. And it's fun. It's very much enjoyable. So the whole plot, I will try to do broad strokes for the first book, is that Magnus, after he died, was taken to Valhalla as a one of the military reserves, basically, of Odin, for whenever Ragnarok or Doomsday happened. These warriors are the ones who will fight for Odin in this war. And when he was taken to Valhalla, there is this prophecy that says that he has been wrongly brought to Valhalla, and that his birthright, the Sword of Summer, is the one who will start the Doomsday, basically, because there is this wolf that is the son of Loki, that is bound by Gleipnir, which is the rope that binds this beast that is immortal. So Gleipnir is starting to loosen, and they say that the Sword of Summer is the one that will cut the rope and free Fenrir's wolf. That didn't happen. Spoiler alert, that didn't happen. But still, there is this one side quest. I noticed that whenever it comes to Rick Riordan books, there's always side quests that will, every prophecy is a week's time or a few weeks' time. I think Percy Jackson was also around 7 or 8 days, also a week, before the prophecy happens and Doomsday happens in that book or that series. While in here, it's 8 days. And there's always a deadline for these prophecies when Doomsday happen. And then, the demigod in, the main demigod has to, change their faith. In this case, Magnus has to change his fate. And, yeah. There's always these side quests, and one of these side quests actually connects with the second book, which is the Hammer of Thor. I don't know how to explain this book that does not spoil anything, but I guess since it is in the back here, I guess. Yeah, if we are familiar with Norse mythology, we know Thor and his hammer, Mjolnir. I can't really pronounce, don't know if that's the proper pronunciation, but Thor's hammer is the one that strikes fear in the hearts of the giants, and that is why they do not attack Midgard, which is the human realm. And so they are keeping it a secret, from book 1, that Thor's hammer is actually lost. That's the side quest here, and the side quest here did not accomplish that, so Thor's hammer is still missing, and so this book side quest becomes this book's main plot. So in this book, they are basically looking for Thor's hammer, and Loki has something to do with the negotiation between how to get Thor's hammer. And yeah, that is basically what book 2 is. I haven't really known if what happens after this, because I haven't read the last part yet. I haven't even finished it. But yeah, in any case, really loved book 1. Really enjoyed it. Makes me want to read the whole series again, the first Percy Jackson series and then the Heroes of Olympus. However, I don't know if I have the capacity to buy another of the book set of Heroes of Olympus, because I did sell one of my books. So if I am going to repurchase, I would probably repurchase a cover that is very nice. But still, I'm still thinking if I'm going to purchase the third book or I'll just digital read it. It's kind of sad to see that there's only 2 in a trilogy right here, but who knows, I might buy the third book, just a thought. But in any case, you won't be seeing the third book in this vlog probably, but yeah, I gave this first one 4 out of 5 stars because I enjoy it very much. I enjoy how the main character is always that sassy, and there's a lot of cultural references to it, a lot of Taylor Swift references actually in these 2. Quite fun. I should have tabbed it, but still, it's fine. I already started tabbing the bottom part here, because there's always in the series, including the first series, Nico D'Angelo, which is a gay character in this whole universe of demigods, and I really enjoy every time there is either a non-binary or an LGBT member of society in these books, because they add color to the narrative. And I noticed that I haven't noticed this beforehand, but now as I'm actively reading this book and not just doing this for entertainment purposes, and actually listening to or reading through the conversations, I kind of find that probably Magnus is also I don't know, I shouldn't judge basically, but he's always at awe whenever Alex is another supposedly son of Loki, but he, she, or like rather they are gender fluid, and he or she and she, for the first part, wanted to be called a her. So I put notes here on whenever she changes. So if it's sage green, it's when she wants to be called a her. And I don't know if she changes back to a he, like at the near end or something. But Magnus is always like in awe whenever he looks at Alex fight, and it's very enjoyable. I'm also thinking of like purchasing the Sol Angelo book because I really love that couple for the first like series of Percy Jackson. So a lot of book buying wish list happening in this vlog. But yeah, I'm going to continue with book 2. I don't know if I'm going to update like in between or like finish it before I update you guys. But yeah, so far that's the situation that we have for this week. Hello, it has been 3 days since I last updated you guys on this reading vlog. I have finished last night. Today is the 16th of April, so it took me 2 days, 2 nights to finish reading Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard Book 2, The Hammer of Thor. These are the tabs. Not as much as the first one, I guess, but to be perfectly honest, I am really like last night, I was so tempted to go out and buy the third book because I have realized that this is something like a series that I really enjoy and love, and I'm very much happy that I decided to recall this from like I was supposed to sell this online and nobody was purchasing it secondhand, so I decided to just recall it from the shop and read it because I haven't really read through the second book, and I didn't know why, or like I haven't been in the loop when it comes to Rick Riordan books all that much after I graduated college. So I did not know that there was actually a gender fluid transgender character in here that I actually placed it here. I think I mentioned it in a previous update, but I changed this part here wherein there is a character here, a new character named Alex Fierro, and she is the half-brother of Samira, which is the Valkyrie of Magnus in Book 1. And Samira is also the Valkyrie who took Alex to Valhalla. And every time she and Magnus has an interaction, Magnus is always like staring at her and gawking at her. And there is like portions here wherein Alex wants to identify as a she, and sometimes there is also a part here that he wants to be identified as a he, and that will probably confuse my pronouns as I am talking about the update for this one, but I did run out a bunch of like my tabs. That's why there's something as this one, because so book 1, I failed to mention this on my update on book 1, but when Magnus got orphaned after his mother died, he was living in the streets with 2 homeless dudes who he thought were just friends. Turns out to be protectors of his. One of them is Blitzen, or Blitz they call him, is a half dwarf, and then Hearthstone, who is a deaf elf, and both of them have like strained backstories themselves. So in the first book we have like a side quest tackling the backstory of Blitz in like the dwarfish realm, and then in book 2 we tackled more on the backstory of Hearthstone and how he started learning magic, or like rune magic, because in this like area, or like their beliefs, like the parents' belief, the elves don't believe in like rune magic, and Hearthstone as a deaf elf is something that they are already ashamed of, and plus his interest with magic, they are more ashamed of him. So the side quest for this book is tackling the backstory of Hearthstone, which it really broke my heart actually. It's so painful, and Also, as I mentioned in an earlier update, that the side quest of looking for Thor's hammer, which he somehow lost or got stolen from him while he was asleep, is a side quest from the first book and is now the main quest of the second book. And in the second book, the main quest for Thor's hammer is that the giant Therm, who is like a mortal enemy of like Thor, because they're giants, they're Jotuns. They hate Thor, but they also do not trust Loki that much. However, in order to retain power amongst the kingdom of the giants, I guess, Therm wants to form an alliance with Loki, and in order to do that alliance, they want a marriage arrangement between Therm and Loki's daughter, which in this case is Samira. And the long and short of it, Samira already has a fiance of her own, and so Alex, who is also supposedly son but also a daughter of Loki, because she was the one who replaced Samira during the wedding scene. And I kid you not, the amount of staring Magnus did towards Alex is like, I have been giddy every time I see like a Magnus and Alex interaction throughout this book. And it reminds me of it really reminds me actually of like the moments when I read Nico D'Angelo with his partner. I forgot the name of was it the son of Hermes was the partner, but I'm probably going to reread that just for the sake of me remembering like all of the details in the first two series. But I really enjoyed this, and yeah, that is like the whole plot of book 2, and I have actually started book 3 last night. I am 30% into my digital copy of The Ship of the Dead, and so far it touches more on the backstory this time of Magnus, like more of his father's side. Of course, he is a demigod on the father's side, and so he meets like his grandparents or grandparent, and travel towards stopping Loki from starting Ragnarok, basically, because there is this like ship. Well, the title is Ship of the Dead, so Loki is going to build or like finish building this Ship of the Dead in order to start Ragnarok, and that is like their main quest for this one. So there's still a lot of side quests, and it's kind of starting kind of boring when it comes to the beginning of book 3, because there's always that calm before the storm situation when it comes to these types of books, especially middle grade ones, and it just ramps up till the end. I'm just hoping there is even more Magnus and Alex interactions in book 3, hopefully, because it started out with them like going back to Magnus's uncle's mansion, which after the death of his uncle has been inherited by Annabeth and Magnus, and since Magnus is already like passed away at this point, it is Annabeth's inheritance. So Annabeth was like, if you want anything from the house, you could go and look, see if there are clues to like stopping Ragnarok, because your uncle has been researching a lot because of that, researching a lot of that topic, so maybe there are clues left in his house. And of all the people that Magnus has friendship with, like Samira, Blitzen, Hearthstone, anybody from his like, they call it floor 19, which is the floor, like his floor mates in Hotel Valhalla, all of the warriors that he fights with, he chose Alex to be the person who accompanies him in rummaging through his uncle's old stuff. And like that, to me, that's a very much, I'm squealing every time, and it's fun. It's very fun. So yeah, I did change, like supposed to be like I used to refer, I think previously in an earlier update, I referred to Alex as a they, and later on in the book, she said that she doesn't want to be referred to as a they, because even though it's convenient for like other people, she is not non-binary. She feels more of a she most of the time, but there are times where he feels like a he. So yeah, I will correct myself there for a bit. But yeah, like the tabs are kind of a bit sparse for the second book, but it is enjoyable. I really, really want the third book, but well, it is what it is. I am going to finish the third book and end this vlog early, probably before April ends, because I do want to start another reading vlog. I already have my mind like planning what the next step is, but as of right now, I have not finished, like I haven't put like my entry for Hammer of Thor in my reading journal, so I'm going to quickly do that on camera with you guys. And you don't need to look into like my entries a lot because there are spoilers, and I think there are like a bit of spoilers in this whole vlog already, but I could still spoil even more if you look into like the whole entries that I have here. So that is the entry. I did like pre-make the borders and stuff for this whole series just so that they could like go together. So I did follow a bit of the color scheme of the book covers. Like the purple ones for Sword of Summer, Hammer of Thor is mostly green, and then the Ship of the Dead is mostly blue, which in fact is the color that Magnus really hates, but let's just roll with it. And yeah, I will update once I have like a bit more information about the third book, or if not, then I'm just going to meet you at the very end of the book. And I also like to quickly mention actually that I have paid off my book token debt that I mentioned earlier in the video, me reading 2 of the physical books that I have. So I'm going to count rereads in here because I have been thinking of rereading some of the books that I have on hand. Like I've read first or the second book in the series and then did not continue with the last one, something like that. So I'm going to reread some of the books, and this is very much satisfying because this perfectly fits 20 circles for 20 books, and I have finished 20 books in 2024, which is my initial goal for reading, and it's just April, like the second week of April, which is very happy for me. So I ended up bumping up my reading goal to 40 books in 2024, which we are going to knock out one probably now, today, tomorrow. I'm 30% into book 3. Probably tomorrow, we'll see. So I'm just going to attach the title of this whole reading vlog to a spoilery reading vlog because I have finished the third book and I don't think I could contain my excitement for it. For the first book, I rated it as a 4. The second book, I also rated a 4, but it's more of like a soft 4. Kind of like a 3.75 or something, but I rounded up to a 4. To me, the second book was a little bit more slower paced compared to the first one, but I still really enjoyed it. And then for the third book, I actually rated it a 5 out of 5 star. I think it is my most favorite out of the whole series, but also probably the most boring for like fantasy readers, or like, well, it's a middle grade, so of course it's like lower impact, not much high action sort of story or like conclusion to this current situation. So this is already heavy spoilers because I will be talking about the events, most of the events that happen in book 3. So in book 2, we have established that Loki has escaped his confinements and will start Doomsday by finishing building the Ship of the Dead, which is the third book's title. And this Ship of the Dead carries all of like the giants as well as the undead that have like resentment against the gods, and therefore Ragnarok, like they are going to fight the gods. And Magnus here in this third book is like training with Percy and Annabeth. Percy did make a not a cameo, but more of like he did make it to this series of books teaching Magnus how to survive like the ocean, because of course he's the son of Poseidon. And Magnus in the first book did have like an altercation with a goddess of the ocean, and so he is training. He is also like, he met with his grandparents on the father's side, who is also like a god of the ocean, but more of like occupations when it comes to the ocean, so like fishing, trading, I guess, anything that has to do with occupations on water. So he doesn't have 100% protection against the sea. That's why he's training. And so they went to, they have a ship of their own provided by Magnus's father, which I don't think I have mentioned in any of the clips previously, but he is, like, this is important because he is the son of Frey, Frey being the god of harvest and, or like summer and, what do you call this? Like anything that has to do with fertility, with nature. So he is basically a son of a, like, god elf sort of situation. So he is a very peacekeeping sort of god, and he is more of a healer in the team rather than like our usual main characters when it comes to these adventure fantasy books that are like the main attacker, if you're referring to RPG. So he is a healer in this group. And in a way, the third book, for the first book, it was like Blitzen's and Samira's backstory. Hammer of Thor, the second book, is more of Heartstones and also some of Magnus's backstory. The third book has bits and pieces of the backstory of the other supporting characters in Floor 19, including Alex Fierro, and it's like little bits and pieces. They went to a different location to intercept the ship of the dead, and they had to do like a little bit of side quests here and there, just to get like their artifacts or the materials needed in order to fight Loki in the supposed final battle. And you would think that a final battle with the god of mischief Loki is supposed to be like fantastic or something like that. It ended up being a volley of insults sort of battle. So like it's an epic rap battle on the ship full of dead people and giants. And to me, that's kind of hilarious, but also lackluster, but also kind of fitting. So yeah, I as an adult talking about this like a middle grade book, but it kind of fits with the vibe, and I actually enjoyed it. And also the fact that the way that he beat Loki in this battle of like insults is that Loki insulting Magnus's in like what do you call this, in abilities and also like lack thereof. Like he's an orphan, his mom got killed, he isn't a good battler, something like that. And the way Magnus countered it was like what we typically call the power of friendship, which is a very children's book situation. Like instead of insulting Loki in a hardball way, he praised his friend's bravery and capabilities and told Loki, well, do you have friends like them? Do you have people who love and support you? I think not. Magnus is like that. And it's kind of a bit enjoyable, actually. The reason actually that I breezed through the whole book, so I started like on the 16th and finished it last night, the 17th, 16th evening, and I finished it on the 17th evening. Not exactly 24 hours, like less than 24 hours, was because I found a spoiler that I could not confirm. And I really wanted to see if it happens, and it's like in the middle of like 70 or like 70% into the book. So it's like almost done when that spoilery part that I saw happened, and I really love this couple. So yeah, if that wasn't spoiler enough, I'm going to open my journal, and I do have an entry here, a quote that I have highlighted in the ebook, and when I purchased the third book, eventually I'm going to highlight it there. And I really have like 90 saved quotes all throughout the book, and it's actually amazing. And I think it's the most highlights that I put in a particular book in all of these 3 books. And I'm going to open it to my journal entry here. And I just really love the ending. Not the ending of like having to beat Loki, but rather the ending that they put. So Magnus, as we know, when his mother died, that he became homeless. That's how he met Blitzen and Heartstone. And one of the entries that they put in the second book, I believe, was that Alex Fierro was also a runaway kid because his parents cannot accept him for being a gender fluid kid. And so he ran away, she ran away, and when she was taken to Valhalla, she thought that she couldn't change genders anymore, but it turns out being the son and daughter of Loki, she can shapeshift. So all throughout the books, ever since Alex has been introduced, it somehow has been only Magnus that could notice if she turned into a he, like at that split moment. Magnus somehow is keen on that for some reason. And then during the battle of insults with Loki, Magnus gave this quote in the way to praise Alex, and like I should have filmed myself because I was like gushing, giggling, squealing like I'm back to my teenage years. Like I'm loving this couple so much, and the ending wherein connecting back to the homeless thing is that Annabeth's and Magnus's uncle gave the mansion as an inheritance to both Annabeth and Magnus. But since Annabeth has a home of her own, Camp Half-Blood, as well as wanting to be near Percy, she gave the inheritance, part of her inheritance to Magnus, and so Magnus is the one that is the owner of the estate of that mansion. And instead of being like a mansion that he could probably sell or close off or whatever, he decided to turn that mansion into a home for the homeless youth, like free of charge. They provide meals, lodging for however long you wanted to stay. If you just want to grab a meal, you could go in there. And the kids that are housed in there, Blitzen employs them to his like fashion shop, and it's like very amazing. And it's that Magnus and Alex are the one that is like managing this home for the youth, and that's why I gave this a 5-star. It's like a beautiful ending that really fits with the personality of Magnus Chase and also of Alex Fierro. And somehow there is a little bit of sneak wherein there is a possible addition to this series. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if this will have a similar like treatment to Sol Angelo couple, wherein they also have like their standalone book that I am wanting to read as well. So in terms of like all of the demigod couples that Rick Riordan has authored, Percabeth Still, Malex, Sol Angelo. Why do I keep saying Solgaleo? That's a Pokemon. But still, I really love the series. Even though you've been spoiled, as I am also have been spoiled prior to reading book 3, that's why I've rushed the ending. I still believe that you should give this a go and read it for yourself if you are interested, just to feel that happy feeling of like conclusion to the story, because I believe that Magnus Chase is actually a very sad beginning of the whole series. Even though he is quite sassy, he is quite sarcastic and like very quick with like references and insults, but at the end of the day, it's a beautiful story, it's a beautiful book, and we don't know if like there's a continuation to this, because still there are points in the story that needs like a conclusive evidence, but in a way Magnus takes it like that is a story for another time, basically. So yeah, that is the reading vlog for this month, I guess. Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard. I really wish that I had 3 books right now, to be perfectly honest, but this is good enough for me. I am so glad that I did not, or like nobody purchased this when I put this up at my shop for secondhand selling. And what I'm thinking right now actually is that I do have like these sticky notes here that I stuck in, thinking that I might end up selling this in the future. That's why I didn't really highlight it with a highlighter. But now that I went through all of them, I decided that I will not sell these books and keep it for as long as I can, and I will go back, highlight everything with a proper highlighter and color coding system, and I will take out those colored highlight strips and then write down all of like the marks that I did, or like the annotations that I did in pencil. I'm going to go back, make my penmanship neater probably, and yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this month in this reading vlog. I am thinking of making this into like sort of like a series wherein I come back to old series that I have not finished, probably like duologies, trilogies, and short series that are mostly YA and middle grade that I have already started, like the first book of, have the second book, but I did not continue until the third book. This is going to be something you could look forward to in the future. And yeah, that is it. Thank you so much again, and I will see you in the next video. So until then, guys, take care and bye.